It's 3 a.m. and you're staring at the ceiling. Your phone is face down, your eyes are wide open, and somewhere in the back of your mind a small voice tells you something is wrong with you. But the real answer is far stranger. For most of human history, waking up in the middle of the night wasn't a disorder. It was the plan. Your body isn't broken. It's remembering something your culture forgot. Historian A. Roger E. Kirch spent over a decade digging through court records, diaries, and medical texts from pre-industrial Europe. He found something odd. Again and again, ordinary people described 2 sleeps in a single night, not one long block, 2. They called it first sleep and second sleep. You would go to bed shortly after dark, you'd sleep for about 4 hours, then you would wake up, not in a panic, not checking a clock. You would simply be awake in the dark for an hour or 2. What did people do during that hour? They prayed. They talked quietly with a partner. They tended a low fire. Some got up and visited neighbors who were also awake. Some had sex. Some just lay there, thinking, in a strange, calm, half-lit state of mind. Then when the wakeful hour passed, they drifted into second sleep, and that carried them until morning. This wasn't rare. Kirch found references to it in hundreds of documents, spanning centuries, across dozens of languages. It appears so often, so casually, that it wasn't treated as unusual at all. It was just how nights worked. So what changed? Light changed. Before artificial lighting, night was long and dark for most of the year, especially in winter. Darkness could stretch for 14 hours. No human body is built to lie flat and unconscious for 14 straight hours. So the body split the night in 2 with a bridge of quiet wakefulness in between. Then came gas lighting, then electric light. Suddenly humans could push bedtime later and later. The long dark window shrank, and sleep, which used to sprawl across the night in 2 gentle waves, got compressed into one tight block. By the 20th century, sleeping through the night wasn't just common, it became the expectation, the standard, the thing you were supposed to do and supposed to feel ashamed about if you couldn't. That shame is recent. It's not ancient. It's barely a few generations old. In the 1990s, psychiatrist Thomas Ware ran an experiment that quietly confirmed all of this. He placed a group of subjects in near total darkness for 14 hours a night, week after week, mimicking pre-industrial winter conditions. No clocks, no artificial light. What happened? Within about a month, the subjects stopped sleeping in one block. Their sleep split. They developed a distinct period of quiet wakefulness in the middle of the night, sandwiched between 2 rounds of deep rest. Exactly what Kirch had found buried in centuries-old diaries. Ware's subjects weren't insomniacs, they were normal people, placed back into ancient conditions, and their bodies simply remembered the old rhythm. Your biology hasn't forgotten, it's just rarely allowed to try. Circadian scientist Charles Chiesler has spent decades studying how modern light exposure reshapes the body's internal clock. Blue heavy light from screens and bulbs tricks your brain into producing less melatonin, delaying the signal that tells your body night has arrived. Your ancestors' night began at sunset. Yours might not begin, biologically, until well past midnight. You are not fighting a personal weakness at 3 a.m. You are fighting a lighting system your ancestors never had. So what does this mean for you, lying awake right now? It means that middle-of-the-night wakefulness is not automatically a red flag. For most of human existence, it was simply the texture of night, a quiet, dim hour, a pause between 2 sleeps. That doesn't mean every case of insomnia is fine. Chronic sleep disruption, racing anxious thoughts, an alarm clock stealing your second sleep before it comes, those are real problems worth taking seriously. But the raw fact of waking up at 3 a.m. and lying there for a while, that part is ancient. That part might be the default setting, not the malfunction. Think about what your ancestors did with that hour. They didn't reach for a glowing rectangle. They didn't scroll. They sat in near darkness and let their minds wander, slow and undirected. Some historians believe this liminal state, wedged between 2 sleeps, produced unusually vivid, associative thinking. A kind of nightly meditation nobody had to schedule, because the dark scheduled it for them. Modern sleep researchers have started paying attention to this. Some now suggest that the anxiety many people feel about nighttime waking, the frantic glance at the clock, the mental math of how many hours are left, may be doing more damage than the waking itself. The wakefulness was never the enemy. The panic about the wakefulness might be. So here's a question worth sitting with the next time you're staring at that ceiling. What if nothing is wrong? What if your body is simply doing what bodies did for thousands of years before a bulb hung from a wire and convinced you that 8 unbroken hours was the only correct shape for a night? You could try something your ancestors would recognize instantly. No phone, no clock checking, no pressure to get back to sleep on command. You are not broken at 3 a.m. You are, for one strange, familiar hour, exactly what your ancestors were too.